very exciting package just arrived. I thought it would interest this audience. CJ's hat. Oh, cute! It came with a little bookmark. So this is CJ's new business, Sunny's Book Truck. She came out with merch, and of course I picked up this Litvic hat. So cute, my favorite color. Okay, let me tighten it. She also has a DWM hat, which, could there be anything more spectacular? Yeah, I'm so excited about it. So it is a Friday while I do this. It is a Friday. I have had not the best week. Not gonna get into it, but I'm feeling much better. I had to take multiple days off of work, which just like is very abnormal and threw me for a loop. How cute! Guys, I'm so obsessed with this. This is just a dream hat. Hi everyone. I haven't filmed in a few days, but I'm going to read a book that I'm very excited about. So I want to like officially start this reading vlog because I finished a book yesterday morning. It was good, but it is officially 1 year since I have read. Are you chippy? I can't really tell. If you are, my apologies. It is 1 year since I've read Piranesi, and I think it's time to reread. I read this in March 2021, and it has occupied my mind ever since. It's one of my favorite books that I've read so far, but I've also only read it that one time. And there's so many like little gems and moments in this book to just savor, like this beautiful imagery, but also this beautiful man, this beautiful character. So I am in need of a reread, and I'm so excited. It's also a Saturday. Praise God. Marco and I spent the entire morning doing laundry, which is both, it's our least favorite thing to do. So we both try to avoid it at all costs, which is really an issue because we leave it until the last possible second. So this morning we had to use, at the laundromat, like one big machine and then two mediums, which if you're familiar is like a lot. But now we're back. It's a beautiful day. I'm going to go meet Marco. He's in the park and bring the beautiful Piranesi. I have been reading a few other books, a few audiobooks, but I'm just ready for a book that I know I'll love. But also so much of my memory of this book is very specific. Like I can vividly recall the few days that I read this, and I was like sitting out on my deck, and I had just gotten my vaccine, and just like so many things that and I remember finishing this book in bed and being like, holy crap, I just read the most beautiful thing I'll probably ever read in my life. So many things about my life are very different from a year ago, and I just want to see if it still captures my heart and my brain and everything as much as it did that first time. So that's the plan. But yeah, I'm going to go out and meet Marco, and I kind of need a coffee. I've had one already. I don't actually know how cold it is. I don't know if I need this big puppy. Probably not. But yeah, I'm going to go meet Marco in the park and get a coffee and sit outside and get my freckle on. I already started sprouting, and yes, I wear sunscreen, guys. Look at me. Like, I go to the dermatologist often, but I always get these freckles like on my eyelid and around my eye, even when I douse myself in sunscreen, and it's like the first sunny day, and I've already, I don't know if you can tell, but they are making an appearance. everyone. So, Mark and I crashed pretty hard last night. So we ended up having a pretty early night after I went out with Tammy. And then today, a little bit of a slow start to the day, and it's super gray and dreary out. But then we did go to the Brooklyn Museum, and it's the first time I've ever been there, and it was really great. And then we grabbed lunch, and now Marco was out at an event for his friend, and I decided to stay in and just relax because I still get the crippling Sunday scaries. But so I'm just here coloring. Last time I was home, I brought all my coloring supplies back, like my adult coloring books, because this is something that I did a lot during the start of the pandemic because it just was like a nice calming hobby. So last time I was home, I brought all of my supplies back because I figured I could use that sort of peaceful activity in my life again. But I wanted to give you a little update on Piranesi, and also for people who may not be familiar with Piranesi at all, I wanted to give you a brief synopsis of what it's about. But it's a book where not too much should be said because it does hold a lot of surprises, and I think it's a book that could be like easily spoiled, and because there's so much kind of magic and hidden gems in it, I wouldn't want to spoil that for you. But we are following a man named Piranesi, and we're reading from his journal entries, so we're super close to him as a character, and he resides in this labyrinth, this house that is the entire world. It's organized in 3 floors, and it's all these huge vestibules and staircases and halls that contain statues that are as high as the ceiling, and every statue is different and they all tell a different story, and Piranesi lives in this labyrinth alone. He sort of wanders the hall, cataloging different studies that he's conducting about like the vegetation. He's fishing. He's cataloging every sculpture he runs into, and the only other being in this house is called, or Piranesi calls, the Other. And the Other is conducting experiments and research to find this great and secret knowledge. And the Other employs Piranesi to help him find the secret knowledge that's supposed to be like the answer to everything. And yes, the answer to everything, that's all I'll say. And kind of the gem and the magic of this book is in the physical setting. It's beautiful. Piranesi kind of thinks of the house with like this god-like quality, and he really worships the house. And there's a lot of like spiritual references to the house. Even like the physical organization of the house has a lot of religious meaning. But more than that, Piranesi has like this great faith and belief in the house as like this generous being. And Piranesi himself is an incredible character, and he's really trusting and honest and kind and generous and curious. He really lives in awe constantly of his surroundings, and he is so lovable for that. And beyond just the beautiful setting and descriptions and Piranesi himself, there is mystery, a building mystery to this book. So I don't want to spoil that for you, but essentially Piranesi realizes that he no longer wants to kind of search for this great and hidden knowledge because he's happy as is, and he doesn't need to kind of name anything or plot anything else. He is satisfied in just worshiping his space. And rereading it, there's so many like hidden gems that not that I didn't pick up on them the first time necessarily, maybe I did, I just didn't remember them as like standout moments or lines. But again, there's just such beautiful writing and imagery in this book. Every sculpture is really like conjured before our eyes, and it's just incredible. And there's like a few lines that I've written down that in my notes from last year I didn't capture down. I'm loving it. I love it dearly. And there is like this building mystery, and I wouldn't spoil any of that for you because it is magic itself. But this book is like quite academic, I would say. It has like can err on the side of pretentious, but I think Susanna Clarke saves it from being overly pretentious because there's so much whimsy to this book at the same time. So I think she really finds the balance there, and I mean, I'm all here for it. I absolutely adore Piranesi. I adore this book, the setting, the mystery. I think it's really, really smart, and it's new. It feels really like unique and different, which is a feat in and of itself. But yesterday, you may have seen, I was visited by the lovely Tammy, and we went out to a few different places, a few different bookstores, and I did purchase a few books, which when you go out with a friend from the booktube space of the internet, how could I not? And I will chat through those later, but I am just kind of relaxing now. I don't know what's wrong with me. I truly get like Sunday scaries, and not unlike the cute, oh, I have the Sunday scaries, like I get very anxious, and like it really ruins like the second half of my Sunday, which is sad because that's the point of weekends. Now that I no longer work on weekends, which I used to, and I feel you if you did that, because then it feels like you don't actually get any sort of break or like just take a breath, and that's what I have the opportunity to have now, and I feel like I don't enjoy my weekends because I'm so anxious. Like I feel like I'm gonna throw up sometimes. So I am working on that. And honestly, living with Marco, it's been like so fun because he does like distract me, and he's like Energizer Bunny, guys, in the best way. And he always is like doing something new and exciting, or like, I heard about this, let's pop over there. And he like is so great at like distracting me and making like every day super fun. And I admire him for that. I hope to be like that someday. But yeah, for now I am home coloring. I did my little activity for the day, and it was lovely, and now I'm in for the day. But I might open a bottle of wine. I thought we had an open bottle of wine, and Marco confirms that no, it is indeed empty, but we have another one that I might open, because I feel like that's the vibe for today. It's kind of drizzling out, might watch a movie, color, finish Piranesi, and I will share the few books that I picked up in a little while. But some really exciting books that I'm super jazzed to read after Piranesi. I think I will read you one specific line that really, two lines maybe. One that's just for the beauty of it, and then the second that's really kind of captures Piranesi's charm. Okay, so like I said, Piranesi is alone in this house, and this book is more than anything like an ode to loneliness and like the perseverance of the human spirit, and kind of this calming quality to this book. So Piranesi is alone, the only human other than the other, who is not always there. So Piranesi really interacts with the sculptures and with the wildlife. And he's talking about this flock of birds. And so finally, the first group flew to the statue of a little child bowing its head to gaze at a flower, which it holds in its hand. The child's head is covered with such exuberant curls, they are themselves like petals of a flower. The second group of birds flew to a statue of a sack of grain being devoured by a horde of mice. So if you can imagine, like, all of these unique statues with all these different, like, really human, real personalities lining this house that seems not to end. And some of, like, one of the most beautiful descriptions is that the house kind of holds all of these moments and treasures, and then on the outside of the house there's only floating celestial objects. Just like pure poetry. Whereas that line, so yes, Piranesi kind of realizes that he no longer wants to like search for this great secret and great knowledge, and he has like this realization, or revelation rather, because like I said, this book has a lot of religious, not even religious, but more so like spiritual language to it. So this moment is like pure Piranesi. this realization, the realization of the insignificance of the knowledge, came to me in the form of a revelation. What I mean by this is that I knew it to be true before I understood why or what steps had led me there. When I tried to retrace those steps, my mind kept returning to the image of the 192nd Western Hall in the moonlight, to its beauty, to its deep sense of calm, to the reverent looks on the faces of the statues as they turned, or seemed to turn, towards the moon. I realized that the search for the knowledge has encouraged us to think of the house as if it were a riddle to be unraveled, a text to be interpreted, and even if we ever discover the knowledge, then it will be as if the value has been wrested from the house, and all that remains will be mere scenery. The sight of the 192nd Western Hall in the moonlight made me see how ridiculous that is. The house is valuable because it is the house. It is enough in and of itself. It is not the means to an end. Glorious. But yes, for now, I am just going to color the day away, and I will share those few books in a little bit. So I want to chat through the few books that I picked up when I hung out with Tammy. First up, I got a tip for the Hangman by Allison Epstein. So I saw this book a long time ago, but it was only in hardback, so I was waiting, and I saw it, and I'm so excited. It is like a Tudor England Mary Stuart historical fiction romp. It's supposed to be like a spy espionage book with a little bit of like theater and play acting, and you guys know that I love anything medieval history. I love the Tudors. So that just seems like a fun, rompy kind of a book. Then I got, and I know I already have this, but it's different. It's the first book in the Ambergris series by VanderMeer. So I do own the full compilation of the 3 books in this beautiful hardback. And also all 3 books of the Ambergris trilogy are in here, but it's just very uncomfortable to actually open and read because it's so big. And I saw this edition and it matches the other of his books, like the Southern Reach trilogy and Born. They're in the same edition. So you know what? I want to read it and I want to be comfortable while reading it, and I can't say no. So that's that. And then I picked up, this is one that I had never heard of, but it's a fantasy book and it sounds super cool. It's called Strange Beasts of China by Yang Gi or G. So I will just read you the blurb because this is very new to me as well. It's these creatures live alongside humans in their near inconspicuousness, save their greenish skin, serrated earlobes, and strange birthmarks. Aided by their elusive former professor and her enigmatic assistant, our narrator sets off to document each beast and is slowly drawn deeper into the mystery that threatens her very sense of self. So it's part detective story, part psychological inquiry. Strange Beasts of China explores existential questions of identity, humanity, love, and morality. Yeah, so this sounds super cool. And then the last book I got, which is also one that I had only previously seen in a massive hardback. So when I saw this, I had to get it. It is The Mantel Pieces by Hilary Mantel, if you can believe it. So it is her series of essays. So it's obviously she's a pro at anything research-based, and then like retelling these different historical figures in all their gray, murky areas and really bringing them to life. So it's kind of like a compilation of all the things she loves to study and talk about. So yeah, she is somebody whose brain I'm like obsessed with. So I want to read anything she writes. So those are the few books that I picked up. And in other news, I have finished Piranesi. I forgot how quick a read this is. It took me like 2 days. That's the fastest I've read a book in a very long time. It definitely solidified my love for this book. I didn't just love it because of where I was at in that specific moment in my life. I think it's one of the most beautiful, strange, whimsical, smart books out there. And yeah, so it really is like this beautiful, haunting kind of building book. And it's beautiful in all ways kind of, and it really talks about like memory and our sense of self and how that's tied to our place and where we physically are and how that informs a lot of who we are, and a lot of like the different nooks and cranny of your mind, and I loved it. So I'm so glad I reread it. Susanna Clarke has my whole heart. But yes, that's kind of all I have for you. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know if you read Piranesi, and if not, you should. I highly recommend, and I would love to chat about it. But yes, I hope you all have a great week, or whenever I post this, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye, everyone.